Amber Alert Podcast.
Welcome, Amber Alert Podcast, episode 23. I am your host, Amber Starkey. It is a great day to be alive. Give me a second while I make sure Instagram is going live. I believe we're good over there. All right. Today we are going to get into, obviously, we're going to do the usual where we go over some news. Now, why do I do that? Because it's important to stay abreast of what's going on around you, right? It will affect how you make your decisions. You want to be aware of things one way or another. You know, what's going on in the world, and especially the country that you live in, is going to affect your life. So I think it's important to always, like the Bible says, stay vigilant, stay awake, just be aware of what's going on. So I like to try to stay on top of that. And then we always talk about like a conspiracy theory or, something. It could be something very old. It could be something very new. Today, we're going to talk about something very new, which is quantum computing, which is its own thing. But when coupled with AI, it's something else. So we're going to talk about that. It's all very new. Obviously, AI has been around for a little bit, for a while now. But we'll get into that. And then we're going to talk about something. I use this phrase. This is something my dad says. It's called the agency of man. So what is man's responsibility when we look at the Bible? What does that look like? So we're going to get to that at the end. Without further ado, I will go ahead and get started with the news. I'm still doing it the new way. Because I think the screen looks a little more neat this way. Unfortunately, things are not like in order the way that I would like. So bear with me. But I'm going to do it this way. And then God willing, StreamYard will make things better at some point. By the way, if you can hear my dogs screaming, sounding like they're getting stabbed to death, I'm sorry, because I have headphones on. I'm in the basement with the door shut and I can hear them in the bedroom at the end of the house. I don't know why they're freaking out. They've both been outside. They have water. I don't know what's going on, but here we go. Okay. Look, the biggest streamer in the world, Ninja, tells his fans Jesus is king. Now, what's funny about this is I saw this like yesterday, and earlier in the day, I was like walking around my house praying, and I was praying about people that have a large platform coming to the Lord and using their platform for influence for the kingdom of God. Because here's the thing: if the church wants to go to sleep and they want to talk against prosperity and stay poor, because if you live in poverty, that it takes money to have influence, right? How do people create these massive platforms? Well, they got a boost, right? Money makes your message go out. So if the church is going to shy away from that, God's going to raise up the worldly people, bring them into the kingdom of God. They'll use their platform because he's going to speak through somebody. So you seeing it with Joe Rogan is starting to go that direction. So here you go. Biggest streamer in the world, Ninja, tells his fans that Jesus is king. That was a huge encouragement to me because I literally was just praying about that. And then I happened to see it. I was like, all right, let's go. I don't even know who that guy is, but apparently if he's the biggest one in the world, a lot of people would. So that's great. I told you, revival's coming. Okay. I know what this is associated with. So this says, evil must hide in plain sight, for the rules of the universe demand that the deceived must must consent to their deception. Aleister Crowley, if you remember, we talked about him. He was that European or British English Satanist who came over in like the 1920s, and he got kicked out of Italy for being awful. He was the one that was like channeling that spirit lamb that looked like a gray alien. He's bad news. So that's something he said. So this is a thread on the rituals of symbolism hidden in plain sight. Adrenochrome, if you don't know what that is, I don't even want to get into it. Look it up and you'll find it. But what that is in reference to is this picture right here. Have you ever wondered what the bloody face of Wilson, was all about from the movie And there you have Jay-Z and Ellen DeGeneres bearing a very, very similar symbol on their shirts. I will say this. Um, I have to say allegedly, Tom Hanks is one of the biggest pedophiles in all of Hollywood. Jay-Z has talked openly about dabbling in the occult. I've seen a picture of him wearing a shirt with an Aleister Crowley quote on it. He's not been shy about it. And Ellen is just Ellen. I mean, if you think she's a good person, then I can't help you. But there you go. So, what is the symbolism all about? Well, they kind of hide in plain sight. Let's move on. U.S. Department of Agriculture has canceled a $600,000 grant for the study of menstrual cycles in transgender men, Secretary Brooke Rollins announced. See, and liberals want to act like the government's not been wasting your money. Okay, don't tell me you're the educated party. You are the class of intellectuals when you think it's deemed worthy of any money to study the menstrual cycles in transgender men. They don't have them. Okay, I can save you $600,000 and tell you that for free. There's no way you're that stupid, and I know you're not that stupid. You just are choosing to act like an idiot. Okay, moving on. Oh, this just happened. So, evacuations ordered as multiple wildfires erupting near Long Island's Riverhead and East Hampton. There are multiple fires along Sunrise Highway, which is seeing a massive emergency response effort due to the high winds. The main reason for the risk is just because we have some pretty strong winds coming in from the northwest, gusting up to 35 miles per hour, said meteorologist Brian Ramsey. Whenever you tie that in with low humidity, it can lead to an elevated risk for fire spread. We'll have a minimum humidity of around 30%. So weird people. Okay. I have a video of the fire and it looks bad. Now, is there a smart city plan there? Not that I'm aware of. So this might be a legitimate fire. Just because there's a natural disaster doesn't. There you go. Man. That happened yesterday, I think like last night. So I don't know if there's an update on it or not. That's the last I saw. I haven't checked since then. So hopefully people are okay in Long Island. What's next? Way to go. Oh my gosh, I have to show you guys these pictures. I couldn't help myself. Okay. So way to go, Grove City. We had a wonderful and very peaceful protest by Grove City Hall yesterday. It was a great way to meet new friends and connect with our community. We had many honks and a few from some big trucks. I think we really surprised the patrons at Planks. Okay. Thank you again for everyone who came out to show you to show you're not happy with Trump, Musk, and the chaos coming from the White House. Okay. I have some other pictures of these people. Okay, here's one. I'll show you closer. Look at that person. Musk, always greedy acting. What a good sign. Ukraine deserves an apology for what? What do we owe Ukraine? Republicans need to stand up to Trump. A lot of them do understand that there are plenty of Republicans who are not on board. Don't you guys like Mitch McConnell and, the rhinos like him? And there she is equating the Trump MAGA hats to the mark of the beast, which is hilarious. Again, there's no helping these people. There's no helping them. America has no kings. I don't know a single conservative that considers Trump a king or wants him to be a king. Okay, so I don't know where you're getting that. America always has a president, which is what we currently have. Just because you don't like him doesn't mean you need to throw a fit. I will say this, for a liberal, she doesn't look that unhappy because in my experience, liberals are the most miserable people. In fact, studies have shown that especially white women that are liberal are the most medicated and the most counseled, like they're out of their minds and they're miserable. I don't even know what liberals enjoy in life because they're constantly crying or screaming about something. She actually looks kind of happy. So I got to give her credit. Like, I really do. Most of them are just like angry at all times. I have a couple more to show you guys. Putin is not our friend. Again, I don't really know any Americans that are wanting to jump into bed with Putin. They just have enough sense to take a step back and say, you know, look at the whole picture. Is Zelensky to be trusted? No. Is Ukraine to be trusted? No. Putin can be dealt with. You just have to have like an iron spine. Like you have to have a personality like Trump. Like if you do the wrong thing, I'll nuke your country. I don't care. And Putin understands that. So naturally they can kind of, come to terms of peace, which he said he's willing to talk about. Ukraine's been the one that's like, I don't want to do that. If Russia wanted to take Ukraine, it would have been over a long time ago. I don't even think that he's after that. Anyway, other signs. One more of these pictures, I think. Yeah, upside down flag. That's nice. I will say this, from what I saw concerning that situation, it was actually peaceful, which is not the norm for liberals when they protest, because that's what they kept saying, during the Black Lives Matter protests and everything. They were mostly peaceful when like buildings were getting burned and like some people died and they were getting vandalized and stuff, like but mostly peaceful, right? This one I think actually was. So at least I'll give credit where credit is due. So I thought it was funny though, because you would never catch me standing outside in public holding one of those signs. I would rather kill myself. Moving on. Okay. So Joe Biden killed 150 million healthy chickens and now families can't afford eggs. It's called starving your own people because they voted for the other guy. And Elon Musk said it's true. There was an insane slaughter of 150 million egg-laying chickens ordered by the Biden administration. Yes, I heard about this a long time ago when it happened. That is true. So if you're complaining, I thought Trump was going to bring the grocery prices down, you can thank Biden for killing a bunch of chickens, which is why egg prices are the way that they are. So can't blame Trump for what Biden did. Okay, under RFK Jr.'s leadership, the CDC just launched the first ever major study into the link between vaccines and autism. Okay, if you're a liberal and you're not okay with this, ask yourself why you just hate people. Because if there is a link, would you not want that to be discovered so that it can be fixed? So you don't have people, new people being raised and born and brought up that have autism. Wouldn't you rather people don't have it? Why are you against accountability, especially when it's involving people that are supposed to help humanity? Why would you not want them held accountable and to have it cleaned up if there is in fact a link? Come on. Okay. Speaker Johnson says that the activists showing up to town halls to protest against Trump, Elon, and Doge are being paid by Soros-funded groups. That's no surprise. He's been doing that for years and years and years. He's been doing that in all, he did that in France. He's done that in a bunch of countries. So that's not even like new news. What's this? Wow. The US debt clock has now been updated to not only include Doge, but also savings per taxpayer. Doge savings, 175 billion. Savings per taxpayer, 1,558. Thank you, Elon Musk. This is historic. So, like it or not, they are starting to make a dent in it. It may take a while, given how much debt the country has, but if you're making a dent in it at all, that's good. Again, if you're against that, why do you not want to keep more of the money that you earn, and why do you not want the government held responsible for wasting your money? How in the world could you possibly be upset about that? I'll tell you how you could be. The only reason you would be upset about this is if you are sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. Okay. The only reason you would be upset about this is if you are so committed to hating Trump and hating all things conservative that you simply cannot admit when something is good. You will not throw support behind it just because he did it. If Biden did it, you'd be like, oh, that's good. Yeah, they should stop stealing our money and be held accountable. I like that. But because Trump's doing it and you need more reasons to justify your hate for him, you won't give credit where credit is due. And that's you can't reason with a person like that. You are just blinded by your hatred. It's like, this is why I won't argue 8 years ago, I did a little bit because I couldn't believe how stupid people were. I was like, I'll argue with a liberal, like maybe they'll see, right? No, it's a waste of time. It's like talking to a brick wall. You cannot get through to them. It's like it would be like trying to explain what brown is like to a blind person, someone that's been born blind, trying to get them to understand what brown, like the color brown, is like. Oh, don't you get it? Can't you see? No, they're blind. They can't see. They literally can't see. And the problem is people that are blinded when it comes to politics and even morals and whatnot. And the same goes for religion. Religious people get like that too. It's like you are it's of your own doing. So I don't have much sympathy because it's like you have the same chance everybody else has. There's a guy by the name of, I think it's Stephen Davis. He's this massive, massive, like, I don't know if he's a bodybuilder or what. The dude is huge. So he was your classic liberal, and he would get into debates all the time with conservatives. So he finally was like, you know what, I'm sick of this, because he never felt like quite satisfied, like he won the argument, right? So he's like, I'm going to do a bunch of research. So I'm going to know everything about everything. So next time I get into a debate, I'm going to like smoke them, right? So what happened to him when he started doing research is he saw that he was wrong. And he saw the conservatives were actually the ones telling the truth and they were right. So he ended up red pilling himself because he sought out information, and he probably shied away from the mass media and from every liberal publication there is. See, that's what you need to understand is the left has controlled every aspect of our society for so many years now. They have education, they have entertainment, they have politics, they have medicine, like everything. Every aspect of our culture has been controlled by the left. So if you think that you can go to certain sources, if you think you're getting the truth from CNN, I promise you you're not. And honestly, I don't even watch Fox News. I don't watch any mainstream media because they've all lost their credibility. They're all owned by, like, I think it's like 4 or 6 like mothership companies, essentially, that all the others are just like kind of offshoots of. They're all owned by the same people. So I have a video. I think we may have talked about it in the last episode, but I didn't play the video, where they're quite literally, obviously, reading off a script. So if you're going there to get your information, you're not getting the truth. So it's your fault, if you're unwilling to go to other sources to get your information. So I don't feel bad if you're stupid. You're doing it to yourself. If you stay confined in the only circle that you're comfortable in, and you're determined that everything you want to be true is true, then you will make yourself blind, and you'll never grow, and you'll never get the truth. So I don't feel bad because you have the same access that everybody else has, and you're choosing to make yourself stupid. So I I wish I were like, I was just like a really, really sweetheart of a person. I'm not, unfortunately. I mean, I'm nice if we have a conversation in person and stuff, but I don't have that. Like some like females have that, where they're just like an absolute sweetheart, right? I don't have that. I wish that I did, but I've never had it. I don't think it's in my character, my personality. Like my mom kind of has it, and my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, has it, but I don't think I have it. My sisters don't have it. Not that we're horrible people. We just like that little, like, if you know what I'm saying. If you know like a female like that, just an absolute sweetheart, cannot ever say really anything harsh. Like I don't have that. Sometimes I wish I did, because then I would have more compassion than I do, but I just don't. And especially at this point, like if you're still a liberal at this point, again, there is no helping you. There's no helping you, because even look at Stephen A. Smith. We've played several videos of things he said. Stephen A. Smith, who has, of his own admission, been voting blue forever. And even he can't stand the Democrats anymore, because he's like, I see that all they're doing is lying, and they're feeding us a bunch of crap we don't want. So even if he can wake up, you have. But it's your pride. You're unwilling. No, there's no way I have been wrong. I will die like this, then die like that, because you're not going to wake up. Let's move on before I get like burst a blood vessel. Okay. Oddly enough, what Megyn Kelly did in this video is how She like blew up. So Megyn Kelly slams MSNBC hosts for their comments on child cancer victim honored by Trump. There's no curing you. So I didn't even read this, but that's literally basically what I just said. There is no helping you. There is no helping you. I don't know if I have that video. I might. Let me like go through some other stuff and then I might come back to it. Let me see. Next. Putin ready to discuss truce with Ukraine after Trump threatens Russia with large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs. See, what did I say? He can be dealt with. Trump, like, things were smooth in Trump's first term with Putin, who is a loose cannon. But that man can be dealt with. You just have to be like Trump. You can't be a weak, brain-dead idiot like Biden or a soft, like if you're like Justin Trudeau, Putin's like, okay, what are you going to do? Cry at a Taylor Swift concert? Like, okay, I'll blow up your country. Like, he doesn't care. Okay, FEMA fires 3 supervisors following investigation into officials ordered to skip homes with Trump signs that needed hurricane relief. Imagine if this were the other way around, and if you had a Biden sign, or it would have been Harris at this point, a Harris sign in your yard, and the people who are supposed to help you intentionally skipped over your home because of your political opinions or affiliations. Can you imagine the outrage? So, you know what? I'm glad something is actually being done to those people, because you can't just do that. People are counting on you for help and you don't like who they're going to vote for. Bro, literally, you're a terrible person. Next. Election integrity activist Ramon Jackson and Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, I don't know how to say it, brought 80 Detroit residents by bus to DC to raise awareness about the stolen elections in their city. The false narrative that only whites think elections are being stolen, that's fabrication. I like Lorenzo. He, I think, is the one that prayed at Trump's inauguration. I like him a lot. And what did that say? From Detroit? I think that's where they're from. So, see, you think these cities are full of nothing but liberals, but you'd be surprised when you go to the cities, you'll find a bunch of normal people that are not flaming liberals. Okay, Joe Rogan mocks CNN and the left for wanting to make their own network of podcasts. They'll just cancel each other. Why would CNN do that? Huh? Is it because your ratings are tanking? Because nobody thinks that you tell the truth, because you don't tell the truth. And you're seeing, I'll tell you why they're doing that. Because they're seeing that people are no longer going to the mass media to get their news. They're starting to watch podcasts and follow certain people on X, where you actually have free speech and you can tell the truth, thanks to Elon Musk. So because they understand you can't go to the news for your news, because they're not telling the truth. So now CNN's like, well, we got to have a bite of that pie if people are watching podcasts. Yeah, because you're a sinking ship, because you guys have destroyed yourselves. Okay. White liberal women have taken their hatred for Donald Trump to a new level, creating voodoo dolls in his image. In this video, one repeatedly and furiously stabs a Trump doll, hoping it gets sick or dies. I'm so PO'd about the new series that I got. So we're not gonna watch the video, but does that seem like a mentally sound person? First of all, if you're doing voodoo, you have problems. Second of all, you're just furiously stabbing it, hoping he gets sick. I don't know that therapy can fix you. You need deliverance. Okay. Nearly a dozen dismembered bodies of missing students vacationing in Mexico were discovered along a highway. Some remains were stuffed inside an abandoned car, concealed beneath a blood-soaked tarp, while others were scattered nearby. A bag filled with 8 severed hands was also located. The victims reportedly bore bullet wounds and signs of brutal torture. It is time to drone strike the cartels. I would stop. I would not play nice with them. Look at how they treat people. So I would show zero mercy to them, and then I would respond with violence. Okay. A former boxing champion is being hailed as a hero after he fearlessly disarmed a knife-wielding attacker at a Kazakhstan. Am I saying that right? Kazakhstan? Airport, saving a young security officer held hostage. The attacker pulled out a knife and seized the 21-year-old woman by her hair and threatened to detonate a bomb using his phone. Musa Abdraim, a father of 5 and former champion, boldly stepped forward, offering himself as a replacement hostage. He then grabbed the knife with his bare hands and overpowered the assailant and wrestled him to the ground. There is a video. I don't remember if I watched it or not, but I'm not going to take the time to watch it now because I have other things that I want to get to. Next, Jeffrey Epstein survivor Juliet Bryant claims she saw Epstein shapeshift before her eyes, describing the experience as something impossible to understand about or without witnessing it firsthand. She recalled his form flickering like a hologram, his eyes turning black, and horns resembling those of a dragon or the devil appearing. Bryant says other victims have reported similar encounters. Very weird. We've talked about shapeshifting when people get into the occult, like the shamans. That you can get deep enough into like Satanism and stuff that you'll see some stuff like that. I do believe my computer is going to work. I hope it's not like deciding to freeze. Okay. I am going to play the video of her. Where is it? Here it is. Of her interview. It's pretty short.
Did you choose the
Hold on a second. Where is it?
with the
Sorry.
monarch
Here we go.
butterfly? So why did you choose that title? It's a lovely title.
Because when I was taken to the island, I saw Epstein shift in front of my eyes. It was very, very frightening. And it's just something that I had to explain to myself because I saw him turn into something. And if someone else told me this, I wouldn't believe it. But unfortunately, it happened to me. So I had to look into it and try to find reasons for it to explain it. You know, it's not an easy thing to talk about because I can understand that a lot of people wouldn't understand it if they haven't seen it. Do you mind if I just have a puff of a cigarette? Sorry.
Yeah.
And then we keep going.
Once cig.
Yeah, sure.
You do whatever you need to do,
5
girl.
minutes on top of this anyway, so it's fine.
Okay.
She said, if you can't hear, because I feel like it sounds very quiet. She said, if I didn't see this myself, I wouldn't believe it. So she understands it sounds crazy, and she doesn't necessarily expect people to believe her. Given what the man was into, I believe it.
So was this a theory that you were familiar with before? Was this the first time you heard it? So there's no suggestion in here. This is something you weren't aware of.
No, I wasn't aware of anything like that. You know, a few years later, my mum started actually researching David Icke, and my mum knew about the whole reptilian theory, and you know, so then I sort of clicked what I'd seen. Because you know, the thing is, it wasn't actually like reptilian; it was more like an alien, like dragon, and that's when I looked into the Draconians. You know, the Draco law. You know, also the Order of the Dragon, the royal family are all apparently part of the Order of the Dragon. Also, their descendant Vlad the Drac used to drink blood. Vlad the Impaler. You know, so I looked into a lot of history, and it sort of, it explained. But I saw him shift into something. It only happened once, but I've never seen anyone else turn into anything like that. And it happened. It was like a weird hologram, and it had like big black eyes. And so it happened.
Big black eyes, and it wasn't quite reptilian, but it was esque.
Yeah, it was like reptilian, draconian, alien sort of thing. It was like
alien.
You know, it wasn't like the usual reptilian pictures that they draw of people but I saw it, you know, and it was like, and I was, you know, when I looked at him and saw him as that, I decided to look away and look back at him. And when I looked back, it was him again.
Okay. So I hope you were able to hear that because I feel like it was quiet. Again, given what Epstein was into, okay. If you are a pedophile, especially to the extent that he was, there is 100% demonic activity in what you're doing. Okay. You don't have to, that's the thing is, I don't know if people like that aren't Christians understand, maybe even some Christians don't, you don't have to do witchcraft or dabble in Satanism to open yourself up to the demonic. There are all kinds of sins that will invite that stuff in without you getting into the occult. So anyone that's doing the things that he did, no doubt was probably undoubtedly filled with demons. So then here's someone talking about he shape-shifted, looked like an alien. Again, let's go back to what we've talked about, like almost in every episode that we've gone over this, the whole alien thing. They're not aliens. This is 100%. It's a deception of the devil. It's demonic. And you start to see certain manifestations, weird manifestations when people get involved with the enemy, with Satan, whether they know what they're doing or not. There are very weird manifestations that take place. And if it looks like something you would describe as an alien, you know, what do you think then is happening when there are UFO sightings and the Congress is sitting there talking about, yes, we have biologics from some of these crashes. They're non-human. What do you think we're working with there? If they were benevolent space brothers, why wouldn't they just show up and start fixing problems we have? You know, why not? Like, why not, you know, why not just come forward, full disclosure, here's what we are, here's what we're going to help you do. They're not benevolent, they're not from another planet. It's all demonic. And again, would Epstein be involved in something like that? Yes, probably 100%. Given who he was and the high profile people that he ran with, 100%. So let's move on. Next. Why is it not on my screen? Next. Okay. The Trump admin must be told about the reverse engineered ET vehicles in the hands of the shadow government so we won't be fooled about a staged alien invasion. Dr. Greer breaks bombshell intel on how a transnational cabal currently has the jump on all of us. Okay. So Stephen Greer, if you guys remember just a few episodes back, we talked about CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And there's actually a CE5 app you can download on your phone. It's available for both Android and Apple. Please don't do it. But Stephen Greer, I believe he has his hand in that app. So that is an attempt to try to facilitate communication between human beings and ETs is what Stephen Greer, he has done a ton of research on the subject, but he has a completely different worldview. He thinks they're benevolent space brothers. So he is someone that would encourage communication, whereas I wouldn't, because I don't want to talk to something from Hell's Kitchen. There might be a little bit more about that. Let me see. This is him here. Yeah, so he said, so Disclosure Project founder Dr. Stephen Greer issues an emergency warning to Trump. The global transnational deep state is preparing to launch a massive fake alien invasion that is designed to cause a societal collapse, 100 times worse than their COVID attack. So, you know, I'm, again, not entirely sure where he's coming from. If he's trying to warn Trump, like, maybe that's like a good sign. But at the same time, I guess maybe he's trying to warn him because he thinks it's a fake alien invasion, which maybe the drones were to kind of prepare people for it if they are going to do something like that. I should have watched the video, but I didn't. Maybe in the next episode, if I watch it and it's interesting, we'll put it in. But just putting it out there, this stuff is constantly in the news. You know, it's not made up. UFOs are real. Sightings are through the roof. It's going on all the time. You know, a bunch of people know about it. People that come from all, you know, one side of the aisle or the other, all different kinds of worldviews, have differing interpretations of what's happening, but they can all agree on one thing: it is happening. Okay. Maxine Waters suggests that Elon Musk may have hacked the 2024 election. Well, how would that happen, Maxine? I thought we had safe and fair elections. You know, isn't that impossible, right? Election fraud. A bunch of baseless claims that we all made about the 2020 elections. What are you talking about? We have fair elections. Little bit different when your candidate doesn't win, huh, Maxine? She's an awful person. Okay, breaking. President Trump announces he will be releasing reports on the assassination attempts against his life. Good. Don't let anyone get away with anything. And I would like to know what the Ukraine connection is with that Ryan Routh, because like no one expounded on that as far as I know. Maybe they did and I missed it. Next. Russia has expressed readiness to discuss a temporary truce with Ukraine following President Trump's threats of sanctions and tariffs, according to reports. I told you, Russia can be dealt with. They really can. Same with North Korea, if you just know what you're doing. But Biden and Democrats are soft and no one respects them, so it wasn't going to work with any of them in office. Rep. Al Green accuses Speaker Mike Johnson of kicking him out of Trump's address to Congress due to his skin color. It has nothing to do with the way you look, Al. It's the way that you acted. Okay. Why, instead of taking accountability for the fact that you did something wrong, you want to try to like accuse people of being racist. Shut up. Okay, Trump's AI and crypto czar David Sachs and head of Crypto Council Bo Hines announced newly formed crypto reserve dubbed Digital Fort Knox on eve of first crypto summit. This initiative is expected to save billions of dollars in countless jobs in the American crypto industry. Okay, I hope it does. I don't know anything about crypto, so sounds like it's exciting for people that know stuff about crypto that I don't know about it. Next. Rep. Hank Johnson suggests President Trump and the MAGA movement want Black Americans back to picking cotton. Okay. Again, I am a conservative, so pretty much everybody close to me also is. I have not ever heard a single person say anything to this effect. I do not know a single person that wishes harm on Black Americans. Not a single, and I've tried to think of people that are, not afraid to say what they feel, not afraid to be, not politically correct. I can't think of a single person who has ever made any kind of remark like this is what they want for Black Americans. This is 100% fabricated. Okay. You're just making accusations to make them, because again, you are so committed to hating him. You'll just make things up to try to make him look bad. And this is probably this kind of stuff is what got him shot, because in the media, they kept calling him Hitler. So you have some brainwashed person who does nothing but watch your programming, and they're like, if this guy's Hitler and he's going to do all these things you're saying he's going to do, I'll take him out and I'll save my country, right? So you're actually responsible for the assassination attempts on his life if you're going to sit there and use your platform to make those kind of false accusations about him. You can't do that. I would sue. If I were Trump, I would sue everybody. I'd sue everybody. Moving on. 3 U.S. Army soldiers, 2 active and 1 former, were arrested Thursday for selling sensitive military documents and information to buyers in China. Why would you do that? Obviously, I get like money motivated you, but why would you do that? Did you think you wouldn't get caught? You're an idiot. Okay, let's move on. A new investigation uncovers that the Biden presidency was largely run by an auto pen. Nearly every document bearing Biden's signature during his time in office used the exact same auto pen imprint. The findings suggest the presidency operated without a real president. Yeah, I think everybody kind of thought that. We all knew Biden wasn't running things. The question just was who is, because it's clearly not him. He doesn't know where he is. Show me an image like this your grandparents took when they were kids. I bet you can't. This is poison. I agree. I think chemtrails probably are poison. That would be another thing I would like to see cleaned up if I don't even know what department would take care of that, but that would be nice. Look at this person, an actual member of Congress. She served since 1991. That's like your typical white liberal woman. Okay, you've got a Crayola color in your hair. You're horribly unfortunate looking. And you're angry about everything. You hate everybody and everything, and you don't even know why you're upset anymore. Here's another liberal. Look. Liberal women are going to start wearing masks again to protest Trump and Elon. So brave. You know what? You're going to sure show them. I bet that's going to just hurt them to the point they're going to lose sleep over you deciding to wear a mask. Can't even believe how effective that's going to be for making you feel better. People are insane. Okay, so the New York Post said Vance family moved to undisclosed location after hundreds of pro-Ukraine something. It got cut off. So Vance responded. He said, these people are such idiots. We had a great time during our weekend in Vermont. We barely noticed the protesters, and almost everyone we met was kind and generous, and Vermont is beautiful. People are nice in Vermont. That's the first I've ever heard that. This headline about being moved to an undisclosed location is that we moved our hotel so the kids could have more privacy. We didn't disclose it because the Secret Service doesn't like when we advertise my location. That's because someone said for all the tough talk, these people are wildly, insanely soft. Okay, even if he was just being soft, Trump got shot in the head, okay? and there was more than one attempt on his life. So if you are the sitting VP and clearly people are not shy about wanting to kill you, then, you know, even if you did change hotels to be more safe, I don't think that makes you soft. It makes you just not an idiot. What is this? I may need to save this for later. Okay, hold on. Let me get the put the other one up first because I know what that is. So Katy Perry is going into space. Look at this. She's going to embark on an all-female space mission with Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. All right. Okay. You know, I don't wish harm on anybody, so I hope they all come back alive. But given the, you know, the number of mishaps we've seen with plane crashes and that at least some of them were female pilots that had no business flying the aircraft, the fact that you're going to go on an all-female space mission takes some stones, okay? So she's set to launch into space on an all-woman flight aboard Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. She'll be joined by Jeff Bezos' fiancée, Lauren Sanchez, CBS host Gayle King, ex-NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, civil rights activist Amanda Nguyen, I don't know, and film producer Carrie Ann Flynn. Blue Origin has confirmed the NS-31 mission will take place this spring, though the exact date is unknown. This will be the rocket's 11th human space flight, bringing its total passenger count to 52. The fully autonomous 11-minute flight will cross the Kármán line. I don't know how to say it. The recognized boundary of space. Sanchez, an Emmy-winning journalist and licensed pilot. Okay, so they have a pilot. Is credited with assembling this historic crew for the all-female suborbital mission. I hope you come back alive. Can't say that I have high expectations. I don't even know why you're going into space. You've clearly just like gotten bored with life. What's this? Oh, okay. So Ohioans, this is new. Good news for people that live in Ohio. So if you join a gym to get healthier, you may pay less on your taxes. There's a new bill in the state Senate that would give a personal income tax deduction up to $1,500 for an individual gym membership and personal fitness training. So that senator wants to use the deduction as an incentive for Ohioans to become more active and live a healthier lifestyle. That's good. See, that's something that everybody should be able to get behind. Take care of your body, and it is amazing when you just move your body, how much better you feel, how much better you age. Everything fires on all the cylinders when you actually exercise. Okay, things the Democrats didn't clap for. A child cancer survivor, planting a flag on Mars, fighting crime, helping working families, catching terrorists, destroying the cartels. The only thing the Democrats did clap for, Ukraine. So obviously this is in the context of that address Trump made to, Congress? And they all sat there like crybabies and wouldn't clap for anything good because, again, they're overwhelmed by being determined to justify their hatred for him, that they can't, they can't give credit where credit is due. Where is the video for that I'm looking for? Is it this? Is this the kid that they didn't?
Oh, baby, you can't arrest me. You too cocky.
What did that say? Hold on. He got mocked and made fun of. Now he's an honorary member of our Secret Service, awarded last night at the presidential joint address. DJ, a cancer survivor, keeps winning with these losers.
Yeah. You too cocky. For real. Sir.
Democrats really are just terrible people. What are you doing? Arrest us? I wish someone would go arrest them just for acting stupid.
Arrest us.
Why would you do that? Like, you're a terrible person. Go do something with your life. Good Lord. Gosh. Liberals are so miserable. I can't, like... All right, I have like several cartoons that will help us make fun. Oh, wait, actually, before I do that, look, this is like how they acted. So this is a joke, obviously, because they held up their little signs. So if they held up the signs that said what they actually did, America last. I love war. IDK what a woman is. Yep. I steal from taxpayers. Illegals first. I voted against women. Yeah. That's your Democrat Party right there. And wouldn't stand for a kid with cancer. Or I believe he said something about Lake and Riley, and they wouldn't stand for that either. So basically you're okay with rape and murder at the hands of illegal immigrants. That's fine. Just because Trump is actually trying to do something about the situation, you're going to act like you'd rather have the rape and murder. That's the kind of people you're dealing with. Awful people. This country is full of stupid and uneducated people. This is the typical liberal position. Wouldn't that mean the Department of Education has failed? And there they are with their head exploding with anger. But probably still not waking up because, again, they're blind and they're just apparently determined to die an idiot. So that's on you. I don't feel bad. What's this one? People living normal lives. Yeah, like this is the perfect representation of conservatives versus the left. So not that you don't have some insane, like very, very harsh right wingers. You clearly do. I've read comments and I'm like, bro, you're insane. But for the most part, Gavin McInnes says this, which I can't like recommend you listen to Gavin because of the language, but he's hilarious and he is right. He says there are two. This is politics in a nutshell. You have one group of people who wants to be left alone, and you have the other group of people who won't leave them alone. So these are the conservatives that want to be left alone, and these are the liberals that won't leave them alone. And there you are. I just want to live a normal life. Maybe I want to be straight and have kids and own a house, not have the government steal from me, and not be poisoned by what I eat. Is that too much to ask? And liberals are mad about it. Yes, how dare you? How dare you? That's so hateful. Oh, okay. Sorry, my existence is that hard for you to deal with. Okay, you don't get to decide how I identify, but I do get to decide how I identify you. Yeah, see, if you want to talk about your rights to be genderless or have 90 genders or whatever, then you also have failed to talk about my right to call you whatever I want. Yep, this is it in a nutshell. Liberals, they brainwashed you, and there you are just being a patriot, not consuming the filth that again, keep in mind, the left has controlled every aspect of our culture for a long time. So the problem isn't the conservatives. Okay. Last one. I stand with Ukraine. What did he say? I don't know. Something about being gay and vaccinated. Yeah. If you still support Ukraine at this point, like, again, there's no helping you. Why would you even waste your time? Again, I don't even really waste my time reading comments anymore. Like, I might briefly look through because I mean, there are even people I'm friends with on Facebook and I see them, people I agree with, but they'll argue with people in comments. I'm like, why? What kind of time do you have on your hands? What kind of, like, how do you have that much of a cushion of tolerance for the stupidity? I don't. There is no way I'm spending, because it doesn't deserve a response. It doesn't deserve time. Again, you won't get through to those people. You could reason with them till you're blue in the face and it won't change. No one has ever been swayed by Facebook comments. You know what I mean? Or YouTube comments or Instagram, whatever. No, you're not going to change anybody. All you're going to do is waste your time and probably get mad, in the meantime while you're arguing. Why do it? Just don't. Just ignore it. Delete them, block them, whatever. That's the beauty of social media is if I'm having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, I can't just block them and make them shut up in the middle of it, right? But you can on the internet. You have your account, which you're entitled to post whatever you want. You're also entitled to remove anything you don't want, including people. So if somebody, like, there are certain people I see every time they post something, it's the same person in the comments wanting to argue. And I'm like, I don't know why I don't care what the relationship is. I don't know why you're putting up with it at this point. I would have blocked that person a long time ago. I wouldn't even care if it was a family member. Like, if you're that irritating that you're that bothered by what I think, that you have to go out of your way to go post, you think I'm going to like allow you that access to me? No, go stay in your lane where you're clearly miserable and angry and post whatever you want. That's fine. But if you think that it's going to bleed over into my life, no, it doesn't deserve my time. It's too stupid to allow to be there, and definitely too stupid to be responded to. So, let's move on to the next thing. So, what I wanted to talk about is the quantum computing. Okay. So obviously everybody is aware of what AI is. Artificial intelligence, it's been around for a while. I know especially Christians, which Christians are like, they freak out about everything that's new. So a lot of them were like, oh no, AI, it's the end of the world, blah, 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 because you can't tell what's real from what's fake anymore. That's semi-true, meaning especially as AI has progressed. Sometimes it's very obvious if you see a picture or even a video, okay, that's AI. I can tell nobody has like 8 fingers or whatever. So sometimes you can tell, other times it's very, very good. And it is difficult to tell what is real from what's false. So they've kind of blurred the lines. However, I don't think AI is the end of the world. I use it. For example, if you are old enough to know what a Bible concordance is, that it was a massive book where if you wanted a reference to something, a certain verse you're looking for, you could go to the concordance and you could find, supporting verses and whatnot. Now you have the internet, and especially with AI, I can chat GPT something, I can type it in, whatever, and boom, I can get my results like that. So I use AI. It is helpful to me. I don't think it's the end of the world. However, with quantum computing teaming up with AI, there are definitely some concerns. So I have a video. I'm going to have to try to, it's like 30 minutes. So I don't want to spend a whole 30 minutes on it. I'm going to try to skip around on it. But I am going to show you guys a couple of graphics to kind of introduce to you what this is if you're not aware of it, because this is still relatively new. It's kind of in its beginning stages. Now, when I say new, I mean new to us. The people developing it have probably been working on it for years, but it's new to us. So here's a little bit of what we're looking at here. People are saying it's a lethal combination. But again, you have these different, companies that are working on it. Let me get this closer. So let's see what this says. Big tech companies are investing in quantum computing, integrating it with AI to achieve breakthrough solutions, materials, and drug discovery. Okay, so I can't read everything that those ones are doing. I'm gonna pull, I don't even know why I actually added that one because it's kind of useless, but I have some others, so let me add them. Okay, so this I believe is from December of last year, so still relatively new, just a few months. Google says its new quantum chip indicates that multiple universes exist. So just get prepared for hearing this, and they'll tell you this is what the science says. So again, remember the whole push here is to get you to throw away the biblical narrative. You throw away the Genesis creation story, throw God out of the mix, definitely throw out your need for Jesus. You don't, the universe is forget intelligent design, basically. Get the Bible out of here. We have intelligent life on other planets. We're going to be able to create our own reality, the multiverse, all that. So here's what it says. Google has unveiled Willow, its latest quantum computing chip, boasting extraordinary performance. The chip completed a task in less than 5 minutes that would take even the fastest supercomputers 10 septillion years. I didn't know septillion was a number or a word. Harmut Nevin, founder of Google Quantum AI, suggested that Willow's incredible efficiency might point to the existence of parallel universes, offering support for the multiverse theory. While some experts remain doubtful, others find Nevin's hypothesis intriguing. So if you've ever seen Marvel movies, those are all about a supposed multiverse. So you can say, oh, that's like science fiction. That's or I'm sorry, fiction. That's made up. That's like fantasy, blah, blah, blah. That's like sci-fi. Yeah. No, there's again, if you think people aren't trying to play God, wake up. They've been doing it a long time. We talked about CRISPR and the DNA where you can cut and then paste what you want in there. The pig human embryo they already made. Like they're playing God. Okay. Before I read this next one, probably most people have not read the Frankenstein book. You've seen the movies. Everyone knows what the Frankenstein monster is. So actually, Dr. Frankenstein was the name of the doctor who created the fiend. The monster was not named Frankenstein. It just like kind of that caught on as the movie went on. But Dr. Frankenstein was the one who was playing God. And if you actually read the book, which I have, the moral of the story is there is a a terrible danger to trying to play God. Okay. There's an awful result. So, people don't really change, and they're doing it today. And I'm telling you, if you try to play God, bad things are going to happen. But they're doing it again with CRISPR and with everything else. And then this is just moving in that direction as well. So scientists aim to teleport an entire human. This new quantum tech can make it possible. So quantum teleportation, first proposed in 1993 and demonstrated in 1998, allows for the transfer of quantum states rather than physical matter by using a phenomenon called quantum entanglement. As we've written about in countless articles over the years, scientists have teleported particles in various settings, from laboratories to open air and even into space. They've all witnessed, I think they messed that up, witnessed advanced psychics move objects through spatial barriers. All this points to the possibility of being able to achieve teleportation. Oh my goodness. From a computing point of view, recent updates in quantum computing are providing the massive amounts of computational power believed necessary to achieve teleportation. That said, significant hurdles still remain for this tech. Teleporting a human would require replicating the quantum states of approximately 10 octillion atoms with perfect accuracy, a challenge that pushes the limits of current technology. Okay, so do you see what I'm talking about? Teleporting. Now, you get into the occult, you'll see this actually happens. L.A. Marzulli, the guy, we're actually going to see him in this video I'm going to play. He was involved in the occult for 3 years. He was with a guru and everything. And there was a particular guru. I don't remember where he came from, but he was like one of like the higher ups that he came temporarily, I believe, to mentor the people learning. And Marzulli said they were walking down the beach and the guru was right in front of him. And then he said, I blinked. And the next thing I know, he was 50 yards ahead of me. He's like, he teleported. That's the only explanation for it. So you get into the occult, you can see that. But here they're trying to do something with science that is going to dip into the supernatural. Do you see how there's a problem there? I'm not against science to a certain extent. I'm glad I have a microwave, right? It took science to build that. You know what I mean? I enjoy a lot of things that took science to create, but there's kind of a fine line. And once you cross that line into creating life like humans, teleporting, trying to tell us there are multiverses, that kind of thing, you're starting to cross the line of what you shouldn't be pushing for. So again, this quantum computing is going that direction. Which one did I just read? Okay, I have a few more. Next. So quantum physics bends the rules. Scientists have stimulated time travel at the quantum level using entangled particles. Quantum entanglement allows particles to instantaneously affect each other, even across vast distances. This phenomenon is the key to backward time travel experiments where information can seemingly travel back in time, opening the door to manipulating time at a fundamental level. So again, manipulating time, you're starting to mess with things that you shouldn't be messing with. Let's read the next one. AI can fast track time travel. AI is helping uncover patterns in relativity and quantum experiments, accelerating time travel breakthroughs. AI can analyze massive data sets and identify patterns that humans might miss. In fact, AI paired with quantum computing has already simulated a tiny wormhole. As AI continues to advance, it will play a pivotal role in making time travel a reality. Okay. So again, we're not talking about theories anymore. They've started to successfully start to move some things around. So this is not a conspiracy theory. This is real stuff that they're working on. I have just a few more, I think. In 2022, so again, it's 2025 now. So this isn't like brand new. They've probably been working on this for years. So in 2022, AI helped simulate a wormhole for the first time. The groundbreaking simulation marked a huge milestone in time travel research. With AI's help, we've been able to explore the complexities of space-time. Over the next 30 years, we can expect these simulations to become more sophisticated, bringing us closer to the first real-time portal. Again, things that I would not be sniffing around with. What did I just read? Is it this one? Did I just read that? No. Okay, scientists like Dr. Ronald Mallet are already working on practical experiments to make time travel possible. Dr. Mallet is using circulating lasers to twist space-time, aiming to demonstrate time travel in a lab setting. His experiments are based on Einstein's theories, and they can prove that time travel principles in the coming. Okay, so I'm reading multiple of these to show you these are different sources. Okay, so it's not just like one crazy person out there saying, "Oh, look what they're doing." No, they're actually doing it. These are coming from, again, different sources. So here's another one. By 2050, time travel might be a reality. AI predicts by 2050, we may witness the first glimpse of true time travel. The math checks out. With AI and quantum computing accelerating research, the time when we can travel through time is approaching faster than ever. The fundamental principles of time manipulation are already in the works, and 2050 could be the year we begin to experience it. I think I have one more. I think perhaps. What's this? Or did I already read this? Okay. Oxford researchers have achieved quantum teleportation using a scalpable quantum supercomputer, a big step forward in quantum computing. They transferred logical quantum gates between processors that were physically far apart, solving a major problem and making quantum systems bigger. This breakthrough opens the door to advanced computers that can solve very hard problems. So the thing is, again, AI, not the end of the world. I use it. It's helpful. The thing about AI is, as far, and I'm no expert in it by any means, but as far as my understanding goes, AI can only draw from what's in its like knowledge bank. So it draws from what's on the internet. It can only create something based on what it's given. It doesn't have its own mind, right? Where it can create its own stuff. However, when you start to couple it with the quantum computing, that's where that line's going to get crossed. So we've gone from AI's like whatever, it's fine in its state now, but once it's coupled with this, it'll become a different animal. I might have a super short video and then we're going to get to the longer one. This guy was on Joe Rogan and I believe it's been a couple of years maybe. This wasn't like the last week or anything. So let's watch this.
Quantum computing, how does it work?
The digital computer of today could be like the abacus of years gone by. We're talking about the computer of today could become obsolete with this race to perfect the next generation, which is quantum computers. Instead of computing on transistors, we're computing on atoms. Think about that. This is the ultimate computer. There's nothing smaller than what you can do with atoms, and that's what these quantum computers compute with. Industries are going to be created out of nothing. Medicine is going to be turned upside down. Energy production, society, entertainment, every aspect of society will be changed with quantum computers, and that's why there's this race, a race to perfect the quantum computer.
Okay, Judy said every aspect of society will be changed by this. So again, going back to when we talked about the mark of the beast that is talked about in Revelation, and you can't buy or sell without it. How easy does everything become when you can't function in any aspect of society until you've complied with something? Okay. Again, we read articles of people that have chips already in their hands and stuff. They can unlock their house and they can do other things. Eventually you can just have all your banking information there. So you can wave your hand over something and then walk out of the store and it'll just charge you, your bank account or whatever. So there's a push to all of these things kind of converging to get you to your one world religion, one world government, one world currency, one world, all of that will happen in the last days. And this type of thing, I believe, is maybe going to be the tipping point. Now, how quickly can this get done to the point where all of this can be implemented? I don't know. I don't know what that timeline looks like. But this guy, this is his wheelhouse. So let's hear what he has to say about it. And I really hope that you guys are going to be able to hear it because I feel like the last video was quiet. But I want you guys to hear. His name is Josh Peck. This is him being interviewed by L.A. Marzulli. And this is him talking about the quantum computing with AI.
Tiny particles, but any little jolt, any little shift in gravity, cosmic rays coming through, anything can mess it up. So I thought, okay, well, they have to house these things in these big facilities. It's going to be decades before this is going to be mass produced. Well, they just came out with this Mayor on a chip that can do it, and it's a lot more stable. Well, on top of that, and it's not just faster computers and stuff. It's like encryption is gone. People, if the wrong person gets their hands on it, people can get into your bank accounts and get in all sorts of stuff. So and there's no protection.
Bro, what did I literally just say about bank accounts? Okay, they can, your money would then be controlled by someone else.
Against it, not yet anyway. And I think if I remember right, one of the most recent reports I saw said that we're like 5, maybe 10 years away from actually being able to protect against this. But the technology is here now.
Yikes.
The other part of it is a lot of scientists, a lot of these developers, they're describing it as if these quantum chips, like they're working in the multiverse. They actually use the word multiverse, that they're pulling equations and answers from other universes and stuff. And I don't know about you, but I don't believe in the multiverse at all. Not the many worlds interpretation.
Yeah, I don't either. Sure.
Yeah. So for your viewers, if you're not familiar with the term, there's a couple different versions of what the multiverse is, but the most common one, usually you see this one in movies. It's every decision we make, it splits off into another universe. There's another universe out there where you made a different decision, and it's the same for.
That's literally all the Marvel movies in a nutshell. If you haven't watched them, that's what it is.
Everybody and everything, and so there's an infinite amount of universes. Some big problems with it. For one thing, it still wouldn't be infinite. Even if all of that were true, it would be a very large number, but it wouldn't be infinite. Infinite is it's not even real. Like you can't even get your head around it because it's not real in the practical sense. So it would be a lot, but it wouldn't be infinite. That's the first problem. But the second problem is that there's just zero evidence of it. The reason that this whole multiverse idea got developed was to try to answer the fine-tuning argument that we Christians have, which is basically there must be a God because everything is finely tuned for the universe to exist and for us to exist. Like, a big one is like the moon is just perfect. Right.
Okay. So let me pause, because that's exactly what atheists do. And I've never seen or listened to an atheist that is just an atheist because they're genuinely convinced there's no God. No, there's always a sense of bitterness in them. And you can detect it when they talk. They mock the Bible. They're mocking God. It's not that you don't believe in God. You are angry with him. And I don't know what happened to you. I'm sorry, that something awful probably happened that you're blaming God for. What's interesting about that is the attack comes from the devil. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So he messed up your life, did something terrible to you, and then he wants you to blame God for what he did, and you fall into his trap. You blame God for what the devil did, and then he just wins. And ultimately, he wants you to never get over it, so you go to hell. That's you got to understand your enemy. He hates you, okay? So don't blame God for what the devil did, but they always are. But the thing is, if you read the book, The Case for a Creator by Lee Strobel, he went on a journey to see whether or not there's evidence that there is in fact a God, and to see whether or not intelligent design can be supported by science. And he found out, and he was an atheist when he started this. He has an interesting story. What he found out was the more you study science, the more it points to intelligent design. There has to be someone up somewhere who knew how things needed to be fine-tuned. But because there are atheists who don't want God to be true, that the shortest distance between point A and point B is a straight line right here, and it's the obvious answer. But instead of just acknowledging that and accepting that as truth, they'll go all the way up around here to avoid this because they don't want it to be true. And this is what he's talking about. Why did someone come up with the multiverse theory? Because they don't want intelligent design, i.e. the God of the Bible, to be the true thing. Why? Because there's something required of you. If the Bible's true and God is real, then you are going to die in your sins and go to hell. You need to repent. You need to come to Jesus and be reconciled to the Father through him. You don't want to do that, okay, for whatever reason. So in order to alleviate that pressure on yourself, I'll just tell myself it isn't real, and then I feel better. But you're never going to be at peace because it's going to be like over your head. But anyway.
The perfect size and the perfect space away to do the eclipse thing. So, but there's there's thousands of these. And so to get around it, scientists, in the 50s developed this multiverse idea. And it's like, well, it just so happens that there are an infinite number of universes where all those things are true and like can exist. And we just happen to not only the technology and what it can do, but the messaging around it. Because whenever it's presented to people, it's always through rose-colored glasses. They never tell you the dangers. They never tell you, like, one bad guy with a quantum computer can basically take down, like, entire governments and stuff. It's really powerful stuff.
Hold on, I'm going to pause him. All of the graphics that we read before watching this video, not one of them was like, hey, here are the dangers of this quantum computing with AI. These terrible things could be the result. No, it's just we can time travel and teleport. Isn't that awesome?
And they're now at a point where this could be mass produced, and we might be working with quantum computers in the next couple of years. Who knows? Or at least it'll probably be really, really expensive when it first rolls out. So
sure, it always is.
Yeah. But after a while, so it's just a totally different landscape. So we get technology that can get into any encryption instantly, but we have no protections against it for at least a few years. So the next few years are going to be interesting to see, like, how all that's going to work out. And I've done videos. Most of us are going to tune it out because most of us don't. It's actually a really beautiful thing because if you think about it, this is the building blocks that God has used to create the entire universe. So, like, studying the quantum stuff is super, super interesting, and just seeing how God used all these particles to make everything. Like, one of the most fascinating ones, and I love this one. But string theory and quantum field theory, there are two different. They could go together, but they're two ways of kind of looking at the universe. But basically, they say that what a particle is it's a vibration. It's energy, really. It's not like a particle is a little tiny piece of matter. It's really a vibration, but scientists don't know where the vibration comes from. They don't know where that energy comes from. They'll say, if you can get one to even admit this, they'll say, well, it's got to be something from outside of our physical reality. And it's usually as far as they take it.
Yeah.
It's God.
I think I know what it is, because it says the voice of God created everything and sustains everything, holds everything together. So that vibration, I believe the literal voice of God from back in eternity when he said, let there be, I think that's reverberating out through every point in time. God's outside of time. He created time. So he sees all points of time at once. And his voice literally at every moment in time for every particle is causing that vibration, causing that particle to.
See, the more you study science, even down to the most subatomic level or whatever, it still points back to God. You cannot get around him being at the center of it because he is the author of it. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I want to get to the part that's really interesting.
Sure. So let's say they come out with this quantum computer, and you and I go buy one. You have one and I have one. And how would this change? Because we're both editors, how would this change Final Cut Pro? How would that work?
Okay, they're talking about video editing,
and I think it's really going to change the world. Like, it's going to be and I don't know how long it's going to take for this to really seep down into the consumer grade stuff, but there's going to be a time where you don't have to wait to watch a movie anymore. You could just type a prompt and say, hey, I want a movie where the Fantastic Four are fighting Spider-Man or whatever. And it'll create an entire movie immediately that you can watch. And then you can give it other prompts and say, well, I don't like this part, change that part. Well, now there's two different versions of it. People are going to be posting their prompt in movies online. I think that's the future of, like, entertainment. It's just going to be AI and possibly integrated with quantum computers, just generating.
So let me stop you. There's all sorts of stuff going on now, on the net, on X, and all sorts of places where some guy types in AI, hey, show me what happened back in Egypt 3,000 years ago, and they got giants building pyramids and giants lifting blocks. I mean, you can watch it on X. It's unbelievable. You go back 10 years ago, none of that existed. Now AI creates it. We haven't used it yet. I'm like, and this is my next question. There's a line in the sand here, and I talked about this at the last conference with, and I show this woman, attractive gal. She's like early 30s, really articulate, really pretty, and it doesn't matter what she's talking about. She could be talking about the greatest recipe for eggplant parmesan or quantum computing. Doesn't matter. And I let it run for about a minute, And this is over a year old now. And then I look at the audience and I go, what you watched is 100% fabrication.
seen that
She's
video.
not real. She's not real. And everybody gasps and go, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you really
Do you
can't tell.
think, this is the question, do you think that that's the line in the sand that, you know, because you can't tell what's real anymore. He's got to come back. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think because right now AI has, and yeah, that definitely is a line. The world's already changing. There's already fake stuff out there. And it goes even further than just deceptively editing stuff because now it's generating.
Generators, right.
Yeah, but right now AI has a big limitation. It can't really create anything new. Like it can't think like that. It's got to take what it can from the internet. So a really good test of this is you can go on ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, and if you try to tell it to make you a picture. I don't know if it still does this, but even just a few days ago it did. Make you a picture of a full glass of wine all the way to the brim. It can't do it. It only does half glasses of wine because on the internet, whenever you see glasses of wine, they're always half filled. None of them are filled all the way to the brim. So it can do a lot of amazing things, but as of right now, it can't like think and generate like that. But you put that into quantum computing, boom. And I think that's really the line. Like when they mix artificial intelligence with quantum computing, and artificial intelligence doesn't have that limitation anymore, and it can actually start thinking and creating and not just piecing things together that it finds on the internet. I think that's when things are really, really going to change. And I don't think we're far. If it's months, I'd be surprised.
Wow.
Well, you got to.
That's interesting. That was kind of what I thought. AI is generating from what it knows, which is basically everything that's on the internet. It can't make new things. It doesn't have a mind of its own, essentially. But it like he said, if you put AI with the quantum computing, it will be able to generate things that are not real. That's a problem because, again, are you crossing the line at that point? If you're not, you're very, 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 very close. It's one thing to, create something that's deceptive because you couldn't tell it was fake or, AI generated. It's another thing to create something that isn't real. That's another animal.
To keep us abreast of this, I know a lot of my listeners aren't, savvy with any of this, and frankly, I'm not either. I mean, I've been watching AI, and I've called it that's a line of demarcation. That's a line in the sand. So I did this thing on CERN over a year ago, and it went might come through.
I'm gonna skip ahead.
Apollo there, false god, obviously. Apollyon comes out of the abyss. It's just there's so many connections here. So I believe that the enemy is influencing people to make these decisions. I think there probably are a few, probably up at the top, that know exactly what they're doing. But I think 99% of the scientists that work at CERN, they're just doing
just rank and file. They're just doing their jobs. It's compartmentalized. They're doing their jobs, but they don't have the whole over. Oh, one more thing I need you to weigh in on with CERN. And, people can poo-poo this. You can go and you can watch the ceremony for yourself. A guy in a goat's head suit, looking like Pan, doing his whole deal. What the flip is that about? Your thoughts?
These people are totally demonically infused, whether they know it or not. I mean, and I think it's because...
that's the problem, is when you do take science too far, like with CRISPR, like with trying to create life, like with this, you can't, you're jumping into the supernatural, whether you even realize it or not. Now, like he said, the people at the top know what they're doing, and I think they do. In fact, they're probably doing like Aleister Crowley did and channeling a spirit that's telling them what to do, probably. So they know what they're doing. If you trickle down, you probably have employees that don't know. They just show up to do their job. But that's the problem, is when you take it too far, you're going to end up in the supernatural. And the thing is, it's not going to be good, because God won't have you. Satan was the one who said, I will ascend and be like the Most High God. He's the one that wants to usurp God's authority and put himself in the position of God. So when you see people trying to put themselves in the position of God, they're influenced by the devil, because he has already tried that. Now, he got kicked out of heaven and flung down to the earth, and then he got, took a beating there too, and he'll take a final one. But That's how you know, where is the source of this? Why are people trying to do this? And it's not just what they want to tell you. Oh, we're going to improve medicine so that people don't have to have cancer. They can live longer, blah, 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 blah. You know, they'll again, like he said, they'll feed it to you through rose colored glasses. So it looks nice on the surface. Like this is just to improve humanity. Like the whole Pleiadians will, you know, you'll expand your consciousness. You're bound right now the way that your DNA is. You're bound. You can't reach your full potential like this. We've got to push it. We've got to get to the next level. And anytime you see that, it's the devil that's behind it, because he's tried this before. The Bible tells you so. So
they've been opening themselves up to this kind of stuff. And so I do believe that there's probably some people at the higher up that really do want to open a portal to try to speak with extra dimensional entities and to commune with them. And really, when you look at it, this is just prayer, the same prayer and veneration of false gods that people have been doing for millennia around. Basically,
I agree.
They all call it that. They'll use words like, and again, like we talked about before, you got to pay close attention to how they phrase things. They'll use words like extra dimensional intelligences, and we're gonna, you know. When people hear that, their brain shuts down because it sounds too complicated.
Just sugar-coated.
But when you think of
them.
extra dimensional intelligences, all that means is a conscious being that is from somewhere else. You know, that's not from our physical reality. Let's think.
Skip ahead a little bit.
Do some particle collisions. See, gravitons can naturally flow between dimensions. So gravitons, because gravitons, the universe is expanding. It needs something to expand into.
Wow.
Like gravity. They keep saying gravity is just curvature. It is, but for that curve to happen, there needs to be at least a fourth spatial dimension, a fourth dimension of space for it to curve into. So like if you have a flat sheet of paper that's two-dimensional, well, you can curve it, but you can only do that if you have a third dimension to curve it into.
You mentioned Sergio Bertolucci. Is that a direct quote? I mean, because people go, oh, he's just making that up. He really didn't say that. Did he actually say that?
Yeah, he actually used the words unknown unknowns. I don't have like right in front of me. I don't have the exact quote, but people can look it up. But yeah, I have the direct quote in Abaddon Ascending, which I don't think is in print anymore. But I have the quote somewhere. But yeah, he referred to them as unknown unknowns, like might come through or something along those lines. But yeah, he definitely said it. He's not the only one. There have been
basically said if you open things up like what they're messing with in science, things might come through, which is essentially you're opening up a portal, and that's where demons can come through, and now you're in trouble. But again, people are doing it on purpose.
There haven't been many. A lot.
Move ahead.
Dressed up like Pan with a goat's head.
Yeah, a guy dressed up like Satan.
There's not many of them. Again, like I said, 99% of the scientists don't have anything to do with this stuff. But there has to be a scientific.
What are we looking at here? Why? I mean, when I saw that, literally, I mean, I just went, what are these people doing? Why are they engaging in something which is blatantly occult? I mean, you can tap dance around that and call us conspiracy theories. Well, you tell me what we're looking at. I mean, this is deliberate. I want to go from there. Two things. We're going to talk about Katy Perry and the film that she did, or the video that she did.
I'm actually not going to finish it because there's like still 12 more minutes. What he's talking about there is I think I was like in high school when that song Extraterrestrial came out. And I'm not going to tell you to listen to it or watch the video, but I think Kanye West was in it. The song is essentially about Genesis 6, except they're not calling them fallen angels or Nephilim, like demonic beings. They're calling them ETs, extraterrestrials, aliens, essentially. But basically it's about like having sex basically with aliens. And then toward the end of the video, because you only see Katy Perry from the waist up, at the end it shows her with like the legs of like a fawn or whatever. So why is that in our and again, that's not like a new song. Why is that in our entertainment industry, right? What are these people doing? And again, Katy Perry is one of the ones we talked about when we talked about Marina Abramovic, that Satanist lady who does the spirit cookings and is all into cannibalism, the one that mentored Lady Gaga. And then you see Katy Perry with the cannibalistic music videos. So, what are these people into? It's, again, like Aleister Crowley insisted he was not a Satanist. Sir, with all due respect, yes, you were. You can call it whatever you want. You're channeling demonic spirits. Okay. You are 100% into Satanism, and people, especially so many celebrities, like we looked at like Tom Hanks and those earlier, so many celebrities and these and people in government and stuff high enough up, they're into that and they know what they're doing. They won't come out and admit it. It stays hidden. Why? Because everybody, even if you don't have to be a Christian, most people, if they see, I'm telling you this, if you've never seen a demonized person where the demon's manifesting, you don't want to be around it. You're not like, I would like to get involved in whatever that person's into. No, you want nothing to do with it. The average, normal, sane person would run the other direction. So that's why they keep things hidden, because the devil knows he's not selling anything nice. Nobody wants what he has, right? That's why everything comes to you sugar-coated. We'll give it a different name. They're not demons. They're aliens. They're from another planet. They're going to help us. That's the lie he's going to have to try to sell, because no one will buy it if they understood what it really was. So anyway, if you want to watch that whole video without me skipping ahead, just look up on YouTube Josh Peck, L.A. Marzulli, and then type in like AI quantum computing. It'll come up. It's from less than a week ago, so it's relatively new. But I wanted to make you guys aware of that, because that's something current that is still being developed. But like he said, he'd be surprised if it's even months before it's pretty much ready to go. And again, yeah, it'll be expensive, but it's very much in the works. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to get to before I jump into the next thing. We watched those. That one I probably will skip. All right, I'm going to get into the stuff in the Bible. So again, I mentioned at the beginning when I started this episode, this is a phrase that I got from my dad called the agency of man. So what does this mean? Okay, so I want to show you guys, when you read the Bible, there is a theme throughout the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelation. It's everywhere. It's not Old Testament. It's not New Testament. It is the whole thing, because it is God's relationship with man. Okay, so I have noticed, and I guarantee this is a deception of the devil, because if you think he has not infiltrated and worked his way into the church, he 100% has. I think there's been a deception of the devil to get the church to hyper fixate on the sovereignty of God, because if you do that, and don't get me wrong, God is sovereign. I'm not saying that he's not. He is sovereign. However, there is in his sovereignty a way that he set things up, because it was his choice. He made things a certain way, and now they continue to operate that way. So the devil wants you hyper fixated on the sovereignty of God. Why? Because then it keeps you from having any responsibility in anything that happens. So I'm going to show you from the Bible, from the very, and this is how you know this is how God set it up, because from the very beginning, the very first human being God created, he gave them dominion over the earth, and he gave him a job, and he said, this I give to you, you go do X, Y, and Z. He didn't say, I'm sovereign, so I'm going to continue to take care of everything. No, in his sovereignty, he made man to be the steward of the earth. He said, you're going to do these things, and I'm here. Okay. So I'm going to start in Genesis, and we're going to read, and I'm going to show you a bunch of examples of how we have a responsibility. And especially now that we're living in the new covenant, Jesus restored what Adam gave away. So Adam gave up his legal right, the dominion he had over the earth, he gave it up to the devil in the Garden of Eden when he and Eve sinned. So the devil took Adam's place, essentially, in some ways. And then Jesus, who was a type of Adam, right? He came, he took back everything that the devil stole, restored it, and then he gave us the authority to be what God intended for us to be initially, before it was messed up. So restored, God's original plan, essentially. So let's start in Genesis. Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over the livestock and over all the earth. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on the earth. So that's Genesis 1, the very first chapter of the Bible. You see, God says you have dominion over the earth. So, you know, when people are like, well, God's sovereign. If he wants something done, he'll make sure it gets done. No. We're going to keep reading. But God works through people. It is your responsibility and it is my responsibility to be the hands and feet and the mouthpiece of Christ. So if God wants something done, he sends a person. I mean, seriously, I want you to try to read your Bible and tell me how many times God acted in a miraculous way, not using people. Seriously, try to find me an example. The only one I can think of is creation, and that's because people weren't here yet. And then as soon as he made them, he said, go take care of the earth. I give that to you. Like, basically, my work here is done. Essentially, if you do what you're supposed to do, I'm up here on my throne. You do things, and yeah, you talk to me. You get help from me. You do my will, but you do it. You're responsible. Don't ask me. You do it. And again, especially under the new covenant, because Jesus restored all of that. He sent people. He didn't say, just pray to the Father and he'll come down and take care of it. No, he said, you go do things. So let's keep moving. Later in Genesis, and God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and out with pitch. Noah did this, and he did all that God commanded him. So notice, God was going to send the flood, which I think was probably to cleanse the earth of the hybrids that resulted from the Genesis 6 earlier in the chapter, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and the Nephilim were on the earth as the result of that. But what happened? He told Noah to make the ark. God didn't just snap his fingers and the ark showed up and he said, go get on the ark and you'll be saved. No, he told Noah to work with his hands to physically do something and create something, and you'll be safe in the ark, but you make it. God had a purpose for Noah and his family, but that only happened if Noah was obedient and made the ark, right? Otherwise, Noah's drowning and Noah's family is drowning if there's no ark. Noah had a responsibility to do the thing the Lord told him to do. It wouldn't have gotten accomplished without him, right? God works through people. Moving on to Exodus. Where is it? Okay. Come, I will send you to Pharaoh that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. So God said, I'm going to send, he said this to Moses, I'm going to send you to Pharaoh that you may bring my people, the children of Israel out of Exodus. So God didn't say, hey, everybody just sit tight. I'm going to just rock the land of Egypt with signs and wonders and kill them eventually. No, he sought out a person, Moses, and he sent Moses to go talk to Pharaoh. Moses, stretch out your staff and do X, Y, and Z. So God's power made the thing happen, but it didn't happen without a person being sent and a person being obedient to go, which is another example of God working through people. Because when people use the God is sovereign, then why are we here? He can just do everything without us, but he doesn't do that, does he? He accomplishes his will through people. So like it or not, that puts a responsibility on you and on me to, first of all, find out what the will of God is. What do you want me to do with my life? What is it that you want accomplished? How can I serve you? How can my life be, a facilitator of seeing your will done on earth as it is in heaven? What do you want me to do? Find out what that is and then go do it. He'll give you the help that you need. It'll be his power that makes the thing happen, but he needs you to go make things happen. So moving on. You shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth and with his mouth, and will teach you both what to do. So this is talking about Moses saying, I can't because I stumble with my speech, whatever. And he said, I'll send Aaron and I will be with you. So again, you don't have to be qualified. You don't have to be a super Christian or, some super impressive person. He'll use anybody that makes themselves available to him. Catherine Coleman said, the Lord said that, he approached 12 I think it was 12 different men to do what Catherine ended up doing. And the difference is none of them would make themselves available to the Lord, but Catherine would, which is why he used her. So that's, that's what it comes down to. Why isn't God using me? You're probably not available to him because you're more concerned with your own will for your life than his. Okay. And take in your hand this staff with which you will do the signs. So again, God's power, but he said Moses will do the signs because it's going to come through Moses acting, right? Okay. The Lord said to Moses, okay. So this is after they get out of Egypt, after, crazy things went down. So he leads the people out. They come to the Red Sea and the people are like, what are we supposed to do? Drown in the Red Sea? The Egyptians are coming. So Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord said to Moses, why do you cry to me? Tell the people of Israel to go forward. Lift up your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, that the people of Israel may go through the sea on dry ground. So again, even though it's God's power that parted the Red Sea, but it didn't happen until Moses stretched out his staff. So God's like, I have the power to do things, but I don't do it until I have a person through which to do it. You can get mad about that. Well, God's sovereign. Yeah, well, then take it up with him. Why did he set things up that way? But he did. You see it time and again throughout the Bible. God is all powerful. He's sovereign, but he will use people to accomplish everything. He doesn't just come down from heaven and freak everybody out so that people come crawling to him. No, he sends people out. Go tell people about me. Go lay your hands on that person and it's the resurrection power of Christ that'll heal them, but it's going to be through you. You are my access point to that person. So moving on. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord drove the sea back by a strong east wind all night and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. Again, after Moses stretched out his hand, right? Now, therefore, this is in Joshua now. Now, therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, into the land that I am giving to them, to the people of Israel. Again, so the promises that were made to Abraham, Abraham's gone at this point, but this is the seed of Abraham. So the promise is still there. And this is Joshua after the death of Moses leading the people into the promised land. Would the people of Israel have obtained the promised land that God said was theirs if they didn't go? No. So that's the thing when people are like, well, I don't know. Why does the Bible say that? And I don't see it in my life. Because there is action. First of all, you activate things by faith, but there's action required oftentimes that you're just sitting on your hands expecting things to come find you. It doesn't work that way. Arise, go, over the Jordan. Okay, so I have to go. Noah, make an ark. Okay, so I need to make an ark. It doesn't just God doesn't just, pop things into existence. You have it's actually amazing. It's beautiful that the Almighty God who created the entire universe would choose to use us. It's crazy when I think about it. I think, why? I think I suck. Like, I think we all do, to some extent. Why in the world would a person or a perfect God, it's almost like he lowers himself to use us, but he doesn't see us that way, right? We're his sons and his daughters. But it's amazing that you would count us worthy of being a hand in you accomplishing your will being done on earth as it is in heaven. To me, that's mind-blowing, and it's beautiful. What a privilege to serve the Almighty God. It really is. Let me see how much battery life I have. Yikes. I got to keep moving. Okay. That was Joshua. So here, moving on. At that time, Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord gave the Amorites over to the sons of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand still at Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still and the moon stopped until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jashar? The sun stopped in the midst of heaven and did not hurry to set for about a whole day. There has been no day like it before or since, when the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. So that's insane. Joshua prayed that the sun would stand still, and it did. So again, did Joshua have the power in his own power to accomplish that? No. He sought the Lord, prayed to him. God's power made it happen, but it wasn't going to happen without Joshua initiating that, was it? So again, you can place a demand. You have a relationship with God. The Bible says to pray about anything, right? And it says, anything you ask in my name, I'll do, that the Father may be glorified. Jesus said that. So you can pray about anything. God's power makes things happen, but you get the ball rolling by placing your demand on the promises or by asking for something. There's a verse in James that says, you have not because you ask not. So if you're sitting there wondering, why does it seem like other people are getting things that I'm not? Well, why don't you ask that person? Are they praying? Have they asked for that? Do they have faith for that? Yes. And if you don't, that's the difference between the two of you, because they believe that they have a right to the promises of the Bible and you don't. And that's why you're not going to have them. So why don't you get your faith aligned with what the Bible says is yours? Moving on. This is from 1 Kings. And he cried to the Lord, "O Lord, my God, have you brought calamity even upon the widow with whom I sojourned by killing her son?" Then he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried to the Lord, "O Lord, my God, let this child's life come into him again." And the Lord listened to the voice of Elijah, and the life of the child came into him again, and he revived. So this is Elisha. This is the lady whose son died after she had been kind. She built that room for Elisha or whatever. Her son died, and then Elisha went and prayed and stretched out on him, and the Lord listened and raised the kid from the dead. But is the kid getting raised from the dead without Elisha going and praying and doing something? No. That is how much responsibility we have. So that's one thing I don't like, is when people want to blame God for things that, well, why isn't God doing this? He needs a person. So that's why you and I are extremely responsible. You can't sit back and be like, well, let's just watch the Lord do things. No, he wants you to get up and do something. 2 Kings. Then Elijah took his cloak and rolled it up and struck the water, and the water was parted to the one side and to the other till the two of them could go over on dry ground. So did the water move by itself because God was watching and knew that he would need to be able to pass? No, Elijah did something and then the water moved, right? When Elisha came into the house, he saw the child lying dead on his bed. Oh, wait. My bad. That was what I read earlier. Whatever. We already got to it. Wait, is this a different one? Yeah, I'm sorry. So the first one was Elijah with the widow's son. This is different. This is a very similar story, but this is Elisha. So when Elisha came into the house, he saw the child lying dead on his bed. So he went in and shut the door behind the two of them and prayed to the Lord. Then he went up and lay on the child, putting his mouth on his mouth, his eyes on his eyes, his hands on his hands. And as he stretched himself upon him, the flesh of the child became warm. Then he got up again and walked once back and forth in the house and went up and stretched himself upon him. The child sneezed 7 times and the child opened his eyes. So again, these are very similar stories. It's a different woman and a different kid and a different prophet, but it's essentially the same story. This kid died, so the prophet went, I'm going to do something about it. God saw it. Boom, child comes back to life. But it didn't happen without somebody going and doing something about it, right? Moving on. So that's just Old Testament, and that is just a sampling of what's there. You can read story after story after story, so more examples than you can even fit into your head, and see that God, you can reason with him too, right? Like what was the one we just read where Joshua asking God to literally change the way the sun sets. You can what is it? One of the Psalms that says, "Come now, let us reason together." Abraham, another example. For the sake of 50 righteous people, will you not destroy the city? All right, for the sake of 50, I won't. All right, Lord, don't be mad, but what if there's only 45 there, or 40, whatever? Okay, for the sake of that many, I won't. Okay, don't be mad, but what if there's only 30 there? Okay, for the sake of 30, I won't. He talks them all the way down to 10. So you can reason with God, especially when you have verses in his word to justify what you're asking for. And there's also a verse that says he won't rebuke you when you come before him and ask. Also, come boldly before the throne of grace, right? So I don't know where this came from. Again, it's the devil that's worked his way into the church to try to get you to shy away from the promises of the Bible that are for you, because then you don't receive anything and you just have a miserable, awful, hard life, and it doesn't need to be that way. Okay. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I've commanded you. So this is from Jesus. He says, go therefore and make disciples of all nations. He didn't say, I came down, I lived a perfect life, I defeated sin and death, I rose up from the dead. So you guys are good to go. I accomplished everything. He did not leave it that way. Now, he did say, I hold the keys, right? I have all authority, and he gave it to his church, but there's a commission here. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. If God is just, sovereign in heaven, then he can just, touch people and make them come to him, right? No, it doesn't work that way. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, so I don't want to do that yet, but just keep in mind, if we're not responsible for anything, then why did Jesus tell us to go and make disciples of all nations? We are responsible. That is a commission for us today. Moving on. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I am going to the Father. So Jesus expects his believers, all believers, his body, to do the works that he did in greater works. So it doesn't mean you're going to do anything greater than Jesus did, but you'll do the works he did in a greater measure, probably because you have more time. You also have certain things that you have a car, you have a plane, you have social media, you have advertising, things he didn't have. So you can accomplish things in a greater measure, but the same works. So Jesus expects us to do what he did. Well, what did he do while he was here? Preach the gospel, heal the sick, raise the dead, cast out devils, right? So those are things that should be part of the every Christian's life. And obviously I don't expect everyone to be in ministry, but if you encounter a situation where that is what's needed in that situation, then you should do it, because Jesus said, if you do, if you believe in me, you'll do these things. So we're expected to. So again, how the church decided that's controversial, how the church decided that we don't need to do that. In fact, it's like demonic to do those things. Are you the devil? Are you the devil? Because that's what the devil wants. He doesn't want the sick being healed. He made them sick. He doesn't want devils cast out of people. He put them there. He doesn't want dead being raised. He thought he had them, right? He doesn't want you to do the works that Jesus did. So if you're listening to someone that's telling you we shouldn't desire those things, then you're telling us the opposite of what Jesus said. What are you doing? That's why it says that teachers will be they're held to a higher standard, or they'll be judged more strictly, because you're responsible for the people that are sitting under you. And if you're feeding them that crap, you got to answer for that. That is a bad place to be. But again, the devil's worked his way into the church to twist doctrine, to get people to think that, to accept that, so then you don't do anything Jesus did, because Jesus showed up on the scene and wrecked what the devil had going, uprooted everything, right? Changed lives, undid. This is the reason the Son of Man was made manifest, to undo the works of or destroy the works of the devil. That's what Jesus did. So he doesn't want us to continue doing that. So why don't I get them to think that's not for today? How do I maybe work that into their doctrine? That's not for today, so that people don't do that. Yeah, that's the devil. That is the devil 100%. Okay, moving on. And these signs will accompany, didn't I just read that? Oh no, I'm sorry. A very similar verse from a different gospel. This is from Mark. And these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name, they will cast out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up serpents with their hands. And if they drink any deadly poison, it will not hurt them. They will lay their hands on the sick and they will recover. Again, Jesus expects us to do these things. Cast out demons, speak in new tongues, pick up serpents with their hands. If they drink anything deadly, it won't hurt them. Lay their hands on the sick and they'll recover. Jesus expects that. So why would you not be doing it? Why would you be talking down on people that are you the devil? Come on. Don't call yourself a Christian. Say the opposite. Try to talk people out of doing what Jesus told people to do. Why would you do that? Okay, moving on. Now, many signs and wonders were regularly done among the people by the hands of the apostles. So notice this. Again, this is post-resurrection of Christ. So it is this was after the day of Pentecost. So they've been baptized in the Holy Spirit. So many signs and wonders were done regularly done among the people by the hands of the apostles. It wasn't God from heaven. That cripple can walk now. Gonna raise that person from the dead. That demon's gonna come out of that person. No, the apostles went out in the name of Jesus and did these things. It was through their hand. It was God's power through those people accomplishing these things. So again, you and I are responsible. It's don't ask God to do something that he told you to do. I feel like that would probably make him angry. Like he's probably like, why are you asking me? Like he said to Moses, why are you crying to me? You go do it. I told you to do it. Why are you asking me? You go do it. I have given you every single thing that you need to accomplish what I've told you to accomplish. Why are you crying to me? Take responsibility. I told you what to do. You know what I said. Go do it. Let's move on. And God was doing extraordinary miracles by the hands of Paul. So was God doing miracles, or was he doing them by the hands of Paul? He was using Paul, right? Because Paul made himself available, so that even handkerchiefs or aprons that had touched his skin were carried away to the sick, and their diseases left them, and the evil spirits came out of them. So again, this is another example of God's power working through a person, because that person was like, you know what? Whatever you want me to do, Lord. He made it his business to take Jesus at his word and go do the things that Jesus did. Okay. So that this is also from Acts 5. So that they even carried out the sick into the streets and lay them on cots and mats, that as Peter came by, at least his shadow might fall on some of them. The people also gathered from the towns around Jerusalem, bringing the sick and those afflicted with unclean spirits, and they were all healed. So again, Peter is doing something. Okay. These things don't get accomplished without people having their hand in it, like it or not. And that probably upsets religious people, because they're like, well, I don't know how to deal with that. I've only ever been told it's the sovereignty of God and nothing else. No, God made it very clear. He expects you to be a facilitator of his power that changes people. Okay. This is from Luke. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he has visited and redeemed his people and has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets from of old, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all who hate us. So that I think is quoted from the New Testament. But what I found interesting is he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets from of old. So God's word was spoken by the mouth of the prophets, right? Again, did God just like get a megaphone and yell from heaven what his word was? Hey, I want you guys to hear me. This is what, I want you to know. No, he spoke through people. And now that, we're past the Old Testament where God spoke through priests, prophets, and like kings, you had to go seek out what is the word of the Lord, go to one of those people. Now it's different. We have the Holy Spirit on the inside of us, so he could speak to us directly. And of course, most commonly speaks through his word. So it's a little bit different, but it's interesting that what he wanted to be said to the people, he communicated through a human being. So if that person, said, I'm not going to do that, then it goes unsaid, or he would just find someone else that'll actually be obedient. Okay, moving on. Elijah was a man with a nature like ours, and he prayed fervently that it might not rain. And for 3 years and 6 months, it did not rain on the earth. Then he prayed again, and heaven gave rain on the earth. Then he prayed again. Oh, sorry. Why is that there twice? And the earth bore its fruit. So he prayed that it wouldn't rain, and it didn't. And then he prayed that it would rain, and it did. That is God listening to a man. Okay. That's someone clearly that has faith that what he asks for is going to happen. And lo and behold, it did. So that is the amount of authority that you have as a believer. You can ask anything in the name of Jesus and expect that you've received it, and you will. You have incredible power, not your own power. It's not you, but Christ who lives in you, right? So it's his power, but it's amazing that he gave it to you. And he said, I expect you to do the things that I did. So what are you afraid of? I don't, anyway, I need to keep reading, or I'm going to, my laptop's going to die. Where am I at? Okay, I'm okay. All right. Now an angel of the Lord said to Philip, rise and go toward the south to the road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. This is a desert place. And he rose and went. Look, an angel. So this is the thing too. When you read throughout the Bible that an angel appeared to someone, the angel didn't do anything but tell the person to do something, right? So here, the angel didn't say, I'm going to take this road because somebody needs to hear the gospel. No, the angel showed up and he said, Philip, go there. So even though there was a supernatural manifestation here, it was a word for the human, the person, to go do something. It wasn't the angel saying, I'm gonna, you guys can't do it, I'm gonna go do it. No, he worked through a person. And the Spirit said to Philip, go over. And so I skipped ahead a little bit. This is when he saw the eunuch in the chariot or whatever. And the Spirit said to Philip, go over and join this chariot. So Philip ran to him and heard him reading Isaiah the prophet and asked, do you understand what you're reading? And he said, how can I unless someone guides me? And he invited Philip to come up and sit with him. Skipping ahead a little bit, then Philip opened his mouth, and beginning with the scripture, he told him the good news about Jesus. So again, would that man have, would he have understood what he was reading if Philip didn't show up and explain to him? No. Which is why the angel said, go there and do that. And then Philip was obedient and he did it. So God didn't, again, just make the unit. He didn't have like a dream or vision, which sometimes that happens, but usually it's going to be through a person that you receive the truth, or the gospel. Because to solidify that point, let's read in Romans 10. How then will they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how are they to believe in him of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. So this is actually the last one I have. So here, this is almost to sum it up. How can you believe in something you haven't heard about? And how are you going to hear without someone preaching to you, without someone telling you about it? So that is the importance that again backs up what Jesus said: go and make disciples of all nations, tell them the good news, heal the sick, cast out the devils, do all those things in my name that I did. So again, is God, the sovereign God, just waiting to blast people with his power from heaven? No, he is waiting for people. Why else does it say, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send laborers out into the harvest, right? Because the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. That means there are not enough people on board doing the will of the Father because they have not made themselves available to him. Because most people, including Christians, especially in America and the Western part of the world, are more concerned with doing our will, right? How do I get through life? How do I just create a comfortable life for me? How do I get the things that I want? But when you read all of this, you understand there's a divine responsibility that you and I have as believers. And again, I'm not saying everyone should just like go into full-time ministry. Obviously, you do what you're called to do. I'm not in ministry. But all of us should be prepared for whenever these situations arise where we encounter someone who needs a touch from God or needs to hear the gospel. We should be willing and able and obedient to say, oh, okay, well, this is what you said. You want us to preach the gospel? Okay, I'm going to share Christ with this person. Oh, that person is sick. I'm going to pray that they're healed. But again, if you don't believe in something, you're not going to have any success in it. And even if you do believe it, but it's the first time, you kind of have to cultivate things. You'll get better at it as time goes on. But that's what I wanted to share from the Bible, that again, the agency of man, the responsibility that we have, that God's will on earth is accomplished through people. And it takes people to reach people. I'll tell you guys one story real quick, and then we'll watch like a funny video and then we'll be done. So a few years ago, I was driving in my car and it was like January. So there was like several inches of snow on the ground. So I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't paying attention and I missed my exit. Okay. And this is kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. So I missed my exit and I was like, oh shoot, I was supposed to turn back there. So I was like, well, I got to turn around. So I was going this way. I turned left into this little driveway, which you go down a hill and there's like a barn there. But the thing is, there were several inches of snow on the ground. So when I turned, there was a truck coming. So I kind of had to hurry. So I didn't like cut them off because I kind of just realized I missed my exit. And I was like, oh no, I have to turn around. So I didn't cut them off, but like they were kind of like there, right? So like they saw me turn in. So I go down this little driveway and then I go to turn around and my car gets stuck in the snow. I should have known better. I should have seen that, but I was dumb. So I get stuck in the snow and I was like, oh man. So I get out, I'm trying to like scoot the snow. I'm trying to like back up, like, and I'm like, okay, like I'm really stuck. Like I'm not getting out of this. So I tried calling my husband, and of course his phone is always on do not disturb. Can't get a hold of him. I tried calling someone else. Or no. I'm sorry. Before I called, I had no service. So I'm like, okay, so my car's stuck in the snow and it's not getting unstuck. I have no service. I don't know what to do. So I started praying. I was like, Lord, just please help me. Cause like, it wasn't like dark and it wasn't like sketchy where I was at. It's like the middle of nowhere, but like, there's no one around. I'm stuck. My phone's not working. I don't know what to do. So literally within 5 minutes, the truck that saw me turn came back. Why? Why did they come back? Who knows? So they come back and they drive down there, and he's like, it was like a guy and his wife. He's like, obviously you're stuck. I was like, yeah. So he got in my car, tried to unstick it. He tried to make some tracks with this truck. Nothing was working. He let me borrow his phone. I tried to call my husband, no answer. Tried calling someone else, no answer. So then he's like, he went up to the road. He's like, I'll try to flag somebody down. So he flags someone down, another truck. They happen to have a chain. So he's able to hook the back of his truck to the front of my car and pull me out. So I was like, thank you so much. Like, God bless you. Like, seriously, thank you so much. Like, I was stuck. He's like, oh, no problem. Like, I was on my way to some place I don't really want to be. Don't worry about it. So I was like, thank you so much. So he drove away. And as I'm driving, I just like kind of prayed for him and his wife. Like, God, just bless those people that their kindness, because they don't know me from Adam. They didn't have to stop and turn around and help a stranger. Why did they turn around? It's not like I waved at them when I turned, you know what I mean? Why'd they turn around? So I was praying, and then literally I heard the voice of the Lord as clear as a bell. He, not audibly, but it's like, you know, when the Lord speaks to you, like you hear it. So he said, you asked me for help and I sent people. And I will never forget that, because that is exactly what happened. I prayed to the Lord to help me. And what happened? This guy turned around in his truck and came back and helped me. So God sent help, but it wasn't angels from heaven to just lift my car and set it on the road. He sent people, because he works through people. Now, don't get me wrong. There are angels that show up and they help us, right? How many of you have entertained angels unaware? We read in Acts, one of our episodes, how the angel showed up and busted Peter out of jail. Okay. They help. Don't get me wrong. But more often than not, God accomplishes his work on earth through people. So I hope that helps somebody. The last thing we're going to do is I want to watch this video because I thought it was funny. It's Joey Swole and I love him. So let's watch this real quick. If you're a gym goer, you'll like it. Got a little smack on the booty.
You might have thought that was funny, but what if it was the other way around?
Okay, what I think is funny about that is because clearly if you follow Joey Swole at all, you know what he's talking about. If it was the other way around, clearly he's talking about it being a girl who got her butt slapped by a guy walking by, and everyone would be like, oh, that's sexual assault, blah, blah, blah. He didn't have, consent. So that's what he's getting at. But then it's just funny because when you watch it, it's not even like he's making a joke. Let's watch it one more time. So it's funny.
You might have thought that was funny, but what if it was the other way around?
I love Joey Swole. He's single-handedly like making fitness enjoyable because it is miserable to work out. Okay. Here are the ways to follow Contact if you would like to for any reason. I also post on Rumble when I'm finished with the broadcast. If you look up Amber Alert Podcast, you should be able to find it on there. And then there's the ways if you want to like donate or whatever. If you have a business and you'd like to be a sponsor, send me a message and we'll work something out. That is it for episode 23. I hope you had a good time. If you're still watching, I don't know why you're watching, but God bless you. And I will see you in episode 24. Goodbye.